Hello mathematicians, today's objective is the second one of Unit 5. And today's objective is students will be able to plot ordered pairs. Okay, this should be review from middle school, if not even before then. Okay. Alright, let's go over some things that we should already know, but we definitely need to refresh our memory on. Let's actually skip down here and look at the x right here, the x, and we call this a coordinate. Okay, the x coordinate, and you guys should be able to write smaller and fit it in space. The x coordinate tells us exactly how far, okay, and here's the key, left or right to move from the origin. Okay, to move from the origin. Alright, so again, the x tells us left and right. And you guys learned in the previous lesson, obviously the x-axis is the one that goes left and right, so it makes sense. The y, okay, the y coordinate. Okay, the y coordinate tells exactly how far to move up or down, and again, from this is actually from the x-axis. I'll explain that in a second. Okay, now here's the way that I remember these. Right when I see an ordered pair, it can be like this ordered pair right here with just the x and the y, or it can be an ordered pair, something like this, 3, let's just say -4. Okay, I always, so I don't make silly mistakes, quickly draw this above my ordered pairs. Okay, so again, any ordered pair, I quickly draw a left and right arrow and then an up and down arrow. And that just reminds me about if I'm looking at the x, oh, that's talking about going left and right. If I'm looking at the y, oh, that's talking about going up and down. Okay? All right, let's move on. And let's talk about these questions right here. All right, question number 1. How many places do we need to move horizontally? Okay, horizontally. This is really important. Horizontally, we should know, okay, is left or right. Okay, and which axis also tells us the left and right or the horizontal? We should know it is the x-axis. You have to memorize horizontal means left and right, which is the x-axis. Okay, and in what direction for point D? So basically, how are we going to get to point D? Well, we always start at the origin. Okay, start at the origin, and then we would have to move how many places to the, let's see, D's down here, right? So I'm going to have to go 2 places to the right. Okay, so my answer for just this first part would be right 2 places. Okay. Question number 2. How many spaces did you need to move and in what direction for point D? Well, let's see. To get to point D now, again, we start where we left off. So we're starting right here and we would need to go down 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I would just say down 3. Okay. So D is, let's see, D is 2 over and 3, and that I think is a typo, should say down. Okay, so point D is 2 over, and let's even say instead of over, let's say right. Okay, so the ordered pair for this is going to be a positive 2, going to the right means positive, and then -3, because going down means negative. Okay, so, and again, you guys learned that in the previous lesson, right? We had the coordinate plane, and if we move right on the x-axis, we know it's positive. Okay, and then in this coordinate right here, you'd have to move up, so that's positive. Any ordered pairs in this quadrant, you would have to start off by moving left on the x-axis, so that would be a negative, and then you would move up, so your ordered pair would definitely be a negative, and then a positive. This coordinate would be negative and negative. This coordinate would be a positive and a negative. And that's a review from the last objective. Okay? All right, let's go over a few of these other things to plot. So, oops, I need to be able to see my coordinate plane still. All right, so point A. Here is point A over here. Okay, let's go over this. I always start from the origin. I would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right. So I know it's going to be a positive because I'm moving to the right. And then to get to point A, I would need to move 3 places up. So I know up is positive. So it would be a positive 3. So my ordered pair would be 4. Look like a positive. It would just be 4, 3. 4, 3. Now, what quadrant is this in? This is in quadrant number 1. So we use Roman numeral 1, which looks like an I. And the signs in this quadrant are always going to be positive and positive. Okay? All right, let's do another quick one. Let's do actually let's do point B. Okay? So to get to B, again, start at the origin. And do this one in red. Start at the origin. And then how many places, I always start off asking left or right. How many places right do I need to move? Well, I need to move 1, 2. Okay, I moved a positive 2, so I know I moved right 2, so I know it's positive. Now, here's the tricky part. Okay, from this, we're already at point B. So do I need to move up or down to get to point B? And the answer is no, I'm already there. So my y coordinate would simply be 0. So my ordered pair would be 2, 0. Okay. What quadrant is this in? Well, when it's on an axis, and this is a really important key point, when it's on an axis, we actually basically say that it's in none. It's not in a quadrant. Okay, if it's on the axis. Okay, so there are no signs for this one either. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of cross that out. All right, point C. To get to point C, let me change colors. Let's use green. Okay, to get to point C, I need to move. Again, I always move left or right. So 1, 2, 3 left. Now, if I'm going left, it's going to be a negative. So negative 3. And then my y coordinate, I would move down. So I keep my pencil here and then go 1, 2. So I would move down 2. I know down is negative. So my ordered pair would be negative 3, negative 2. Okay. Which quadrant is this in? Go ahead and write down what you think. Okay, the answer that you should have had is quadrant number 3. What are the signs of this quadrant? Well, it's going to be a negative and a negative always. Okay. All right, go ahead and finish this table off. You guys can use these ordered pairs. So let's see. Point E is right here. And then use these ordered pairs to fill in the rest of the table. So go ahead and hit pause now. Fill in the rest of the table. When you're done, unpause it, and let's move on. Okay, here are the answers that you should have. So go ahead and take a second to check them. If you got any of these wrong, make sure you count them wrong on your notes. That way when you study before your test, you know to go back and look at these. Okay. So go ahead and hit pause and check these with what I have. When you're done checking, you can move on and play again. Okay. Before we had a point on the graph and we had to tell the coordinate. Now we're going to do just the opposite. It gives us a coordinate. We have to plot it on the graph. Okay, so let's just dig right in and start with these. First of all, again, I like to draw out my graphic organizer whenever I'm doing ordered pairs. Okay, X tells me to move left or right. Y tells me to move up or down. Okay, all right, so let's start with point A. Okay, it gives me a positive 3 and then 1. So I always, and this is a key point. Let's get this key point down. Okay, always start at, and you guys should be already saying the word, the origin. always start at the origin. Okay? All right, so I'm going to put my pencil at the origin. Okay? And to get to point A, I need to go, it's a positive 3. What do you think? Does positive mean right or to the left on the x-axis? Okay, well, we should know, whoops, didn't want to do that. We should know on the x-axis, okay, to the right is positive, to the left is negative. And that makes perfect sense because if you think about a number line, right, on a number line, left of 0 are negative numbers and to the right of 0 are positive numbers. So that makes sense. Okay, so I need to go right 3. So I'm going to go right 1, 2, I'll just show you 1, 2, 3. And then it's a positive 1, so do you think I need to go up or down for a positive on the y-axis? Well, it makes sense that up is positive, down is negative. Okay, so I go up 1, so my point would be right here. This is point A. Okay, so make sure you label that. Okay, point B gives me -2, 0. You guys, I'm telling you right now, these ordered pairs that have 0 in it are the most missed problems. Okay, do not get these wrong. Just follow the same steps. Okay, the x is -2, so I need to go left 2. So 1, 2, and then I stop, keep my pencil there, and then my y is 0. So if I have a y of 0, am I going to go up or down? And the answer is neither, right? I'm not moving at all. So I would actually just stay right there, and my point B would be right on the axis. Okay. For C, it's +2, -5. So I'm going to start by going, let me change pen colors. I'm going to start by going +2, so it would be right 2, 1, 2. And then -5 would simply be down 5. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And eventually when you guys get good, you won't need to show these little loops going all the way down. But for now, I think it's helpful to do. Now, I do want to show you something really quick. Do you see how on mine, and this would actually lead to mistakes. It's hard for me to do it on the computer, but do you see how on mine, I didn't exactly go right on each axis line. I'm going to redo this because it should, and I'm going to give it a try, look more like this. That was a little bit better. But do you see how right here that point wasn't exactly on this axis line? Okay, make sure that you take your time to do it neatly, and I'm going to come over here and get it exactly on the axis lines. Okay, that'll help you avoid some silly mistakes on counting. Okay, so get those plotted. See if I can get this straightened out a little bit. All right, point D would be -5, 5. So I'm going to go left 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then I got to go up 5 because it's a positive y. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is my point D. Okay. E. This one right here, and I want you to mark it because this is the most missed problem out of all of them when you start with a 0. Okay? So, my x is 0. Remember, my x tells me to move left or right. If it's 0, I'm not moving left and I'm not moving right. So my first move is I stay right at the origin. And then my y is -3, so I got to go down 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's my point E. The most common mistake is this. For this one is for students to just start off and to go left 3, okay, and they would end up just to the left of B, because then they wouldn't go up or down any because they see that 0. Okay, start off with the x, tells you left and right, and the left and right is 0, so you don't move from the origin. And then you move on to the y. The y is -3. I know y tells me to go up or down, and because it is negative, I know I need to go down. Okay. All right, let's move on to some of these ones. Oh no, I got one left. Let's switch to, let's do purple. All right, so my last one, f of 0, 4. So again, that x is 0. Let's start this one too, because those are frequently missed problems, and so is this one actually. Okay. My f is 0, so my x is 0, so I don't go left, I don't go right. And then my y is positive 4, so I would just go up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that is point F. Okay, so I have A, B. Did I forget to do C? Oh, I just forgot to label it. So that's C down there. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. State which quadrant each coordinate pair will be in. Okay. Well, if I have a -1, -1, I know I'm going to be going. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to do this. I know I'm going to be going left 1 and then down 1. That puts me in quadrant number 3. For a 5, -2, I'm going to draw another one. So I would go right 5, and then I would go down 2. So what quadrant does that put me in? That puts me in quadrant number 4. Okay. The next one, state which, let's see, the quadrant, if I have a negative and a positive. Okay. Well, any negative number tells me to move left, and then a positive number tells me to move up. So I'm going to be in this quadrant right here, which is quadrant number 2. Okay. If you're struggling on quadrants, you need to go back and look at your notes from yesterday, or go back and look at the video, because you absolutely have to know quadrants. So it should be easy points on the Explorer and ACT. All right, next one, a 2, 2. So I go right 2 and then up 2. That's going to put me in quadrant number 1. Okay. Next one is a negative and a negative, and I know that would tell me to go left and then down, so that puts me in quadrant number 3. And finally, I have 0, 6. Okay, so I'd start off, I don't move left and right, and then I just move up 6. And because that is on an axis, we say none. Okay, and let's put a key point on this. Okay, if on axis, not in a quadrant. Okay. All right. If you have questions on those, make sure you put a question mark and we can answer it in class. Right now, want you guys to do all of these problems. So do 4 and do 5. You guys, by the end, should have 6 points on this coordinate plane right here. You should have 6 points, and they should all be labeled. And then on this one, each of these, you should be writing the ordered pair. So what is the x? What is the y for each of these? Okay? So go ahead and hit pause now and do these. When you're done, you can hit play again, and I'll have the answers for you so that you can check to make sure that you're doing them correctly before you get to class. That way you can master the quiz the first time and not have to retake it. So hit pause now. Okay, here are the answers. Make sure that you check yours. If you got any of them wrong, just make sure you take a pen or something and put a slash through like whatever one you got wrong. That way you know to go back and study. So I count it wrong and I would put study. Do that now. Again, this is for your purpose, just so that you know where you're at on this objective and you know what to study when you take the test. So go ahead and hit pause and check these answers now. When you're finished checking, you can hit play and we'll move on to the last part of this lesson. Okay, let's do some additional practice problems. Now, some of these are a lot more challenging, which these are the types of problems that you will see on the Explorer and on the ACT. They're not going to ask you to just plot this coordinate pair and say, oh, go right 4, up 5. That's too easy. Okay, it's a junior level ACT. They're going to ask you more challenging problems. So these problems are really, really important that you understand them. Okay, let's just start with number 2. Okay, it's a word problem, so what should I be using? I hope you are saying cups in your head. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Try to straighten this out a little bit. Okay, not perfect, but it'll do. Indra started at the point. Okay, -4, -2. She moved 3 spaces up. Okay, and 5 spaces to the right. Now, I'm going to go through and look at this. Up means what? It means y-axis, right? And if it's a 3 spaces up, I know that means that my y is going to be +3. Okay? And then 5 spaces to the right. Well, I know right and left means x, and to the right is positive, so I know it's positive, and then it was 5 spaces. Okay? So, here's how I do this one. I have to go back and look at this ordered pair. I started at, So, I started at -4, -2. Okay? Now, this is my x, this is my y. My x changed by going a +5. My y changed by going a +3. It is so important that you look and see which one you're talking about. So again, up means y, so I know my y is +3. That +3 I put underneath the y, because that's what's changing, is the y. So now all I have to do is basically just add these. So what's -4 plus 5? Well, that would be a +1. Okay? And then what is -2 plus 3? That would also be a +1. So my new ordered pair in my answer would simply be 1, 1. Okay? If you have a question on that, make sure you put a question mark and we can go over that in class. All right. Number 3. The point 1, 2 is located on the map. The point moved, let's see, 3 blocks west and 2 blocks north. What is the new, this should say location. Let's change that. Typo in the notes. What is the new location of the point? Okay, so my answer needs to be an ordered pair, because location, we're talking ordered pair. Now, we definitely need to review north, east, south, and west. So, if you have, it basically looks like the coordinate plane, the axes. Okay, north, we hopefully know, is at the top. Okay, and then there are a lot of different ways to remember this, but the one I learned was never, and then to the right. Okay, I'm going clockwise. Never eat shredded wheat. Okay, I know a lot of students use never eat soggy waffles. Okay, whatever you want to do to memorize that, you need to remember north, east is to the right, south, west. Okay, north, east, south, west. All right, so the point moved 3 blocks west. Well, look at west. Okay, which axis is the west on? It's on the x-axis. Okay, so west tells me that's either going to be it's on the x-axis, and because I move left, I know, is it a positive or a negative x? Well, the answer is negative because I'm moving to the left, and then it was 3 blocks. Okay, 2 blocks north. Well, north and south are my y-axis. Okay, north I know is up, which means it's going to be positive, and it was 2 blocks. Okay, so now I'm going to come back. My original ordered pair was 1, 2. Okay, now my x, which is this one, changed by -3, and my y changed by +2. Okay, so then basically just add these. 1 minus 3 is -2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. So my new location, my answer, is simply -2, 4. -2, 4. Okay, again, these are more challenging ones, but before you come to class, you need to have these problems on this page, the rest of them all completed. So you need to do with the 1 through 5, and then the number 1 at the bottom. And then, again, before you come to class, this is part of the homework, you need to do numbers 2 and 3 on the next page. Okay, so page 5, numbers 2 and 3. So basically, you should have all of the problems done for this objective before you come to class. Okay? All right, I look forward to practicing these with you in class when we see you next.